I've always been fascinated with technology, and growing up, I kind of felt as though technology and the internet was growing with me and kind of evolving. So I knew that I always wanted to be a part of that in some way. And I just didn't know exactly the capacity of how I wanted to be involved with it. But naturally, as I got older, I began to better understand how the internet works and kind of what I like. So using different websites on a daily basis, that kind of turned into a desire of wanting to develop websites for myself. And that's kind of where my inspiration came from, because I was inspired by the work of others. I haven't actually experienced any bias in my career, but yeah, as an apprentice, my career has only just started, right? And one thing I have observed is how much effort is being put in by the organizations I'm involved with to make sure that people from a diverse background do have the same opportunities as everyone else. And it makes me think that it's quite scary to think of how it was before that effort was being made. And I just hope that as a society we can kind of continue making that effort, and just making sure that we don't have that kind of bias towards anyone based on race, ethnicity, background, etc. I started working when I had just turned 17, and I've just about been employed ever since. So for the first 2.5 years or so, I mainly worked in retail jobs. And although race and ethnicity didn't affect my relationships at work in a significant way, I had some situations that came more so as like a subtle detail or a small comment that my race is actually affecting what some people might say to me. So an example of one example of that would be in one of my previous retail jobs, one manager said to me, you should cut your hair because it would look more professional. And funnily enough, there were a lot of employees with long hair. I was just the only person with this type of hair. So at first I laughed it off because it just seemed like a small comment, which is fine. But it did have me kind of worried at the back of my mind that I was being treated a little bit differently. And I think that's kind of what makes it difficult, is not knowing whether your worry is even justified or if you're overthinking it and actually it's just something normal. But yeah, I think reflecting back on it now, I definitely feel like those small subtle details and those small comments do affect relationships at work and how comfortable you feel. One thing that has helped me overcome this definitely is realizing that ultimately I have the control of where I go, and that in the present day you can find people everywhere that are determined to bring about change and break bias. So as long as I am driven by that energy, I will always end up in the right place. And having thought about that quite a bit, I genuinely believe that. So it's just about, for me personally, it's about surrounding myself with the people who are determined to bring about that change, and then I'm always in the right place. Currently, I don't feel like I'm involved in any communities that directly target bias as a predominant purpose, but I think working at Multiverse as an apprentice gives me the opportunity to kind of contribute towards something that does break bias, which is providing apprenticeship opportunities to young people, right? And I think being an apprentice myself who's gone through that system, it really feels good to now be employed and be in a position where I can contribute to give the same thing to other young people. I actually do currently have a mentor. I've been mentored for about 4 months now, and we have around 2 months left to go. It's like a 6-month program. And yeah, it's just been so useful towards my personal development. So we discuss my goals all the time and kind of the best ways I can get around to accomplishing those goals. We've done a lot of different challenges, I guess, OKRs and whatnot. So that has really helped me in my growth. And I feel like I've definitely developed a lot throughout these last couple months. There's a lot of things that I like about being a dev and development in general, but I think if I had to pick one thing, it would be kind of seeing all the technical work that you do come together as a unified result based on collaboration. Because before I entered the software engineering field, I kind of thought it would be a lot more independent. But now entering the field, it feels as though everything is so much collaboration And it's a really pleasant surprise because there's so much work that you do that doesn't just go out and it's finished. It's actually going towards a unified result that serves a really important purpose. And I think kind of seeing all of that unfold is really important to me, and it's been giving me a lot of motivation towards development. A defining moment in my career is that I realized that I have an important perspective, and it's not in spite that I'm an apprentice with not a lot of experience, but actually because of it. Especially working at Multiverse, which is an apprenticeship provider, I'm able to give that perspective of an apprentice while simultaneously delivering value as a junior software engineer, and that makes it important. So kind of realizing that I have that value, even though I don't have a lot of experience, has been really defining for me. One advice I would give to engineers starting their career, so kind of in a similar position as me, would be to not make assumptions and then take them into the field. Because I remember when I was entering the field for the first time, I made a lot of assumptions, which is fine, but a lot of those were some negative assumptions, which is what if I'm not good enough to be a software engineer. And I realized that once you take the first step, the ball is just rolling and then you're just looking forward.